We're officially in the biggest week of Season 4, and it looks insane. From the live event to the official Override trailer, this is genuinely gonna blow your mind. First thing first, Epic just dropped the season's opening teaser, and it confirms Sonic. Not just his skin either, but the ability to dash around like him, plus a full-themed location on the island built around his design, mountains and the classic rings included, and yeah, we'll actually be able to hit those rings. The last thing we catch in the trailer is him grabbing a coin, which is almost certainly a big deal for the season. Nobody knows what it's for yet, but more reveals like this are landing over the next few days, so stick around. Let me walk you through both events, starting with the one already live on the island, since the countdown went active this Saturday during the Power Hour. For anyone who hasn't jumped in or missed it, that timer is sitting right on top of the Collider, and it's ticking down to the season finale on Saturday, August 15th. One thing you absolutely can't sleep on. If you want in, load up the game at least half an hour early, and drop into the Battle Royale lobby a solid 5 minutes before it kicks off, because that's the window where getting eliminated, and eliminating anyone else, gets switched off. Show up a little ahead of the clock so you don't miss a single second. Now, as you've probably gathered, this one isn't the massive spectacle we got last season. There's no separate mode this time. It's not stretching to 10 minutes, nothing close. The going theory is that it runs about 5 minutes, and we'll likely watch the whole thing from our usual angle, meaning the standard third person we always play in, with maybe a cinematic layering over the match at most. There's actually a bit already known about it, but I'm keeping my mouth shut, because like I said, it's a small one, so spoiling it would just wreck the experience for you. What I can tell you for sure is that it ties into hacks and glitches. And that's not only because Override is the next season's name, it's also because the whole thing got announced during Saturday's Power Hour through a news post right in the Battle Royale lobby. That same announcement rolled in with the line about someone powerful rewriting the rules and change the game, while the island's future hangs by a thread. Right after that, the Battle Royale mode swapped its thumbnail, and you can spot a glitchy background with Tetris pieces tumbling down the right edge of the shot. The community also started theorizing about a cube that might be from Crash Bandicoot. None of that is just wishful thinking either, since we already know there are encrypted posters data mined in the game tied to brands like Sonic and Pac-Man. Those are dropping soon, possibly even right after the finale. But for now, the only fresh teaser we've got is the line Fortnite posted on Discord. Expect the teasers and trailers to start rolling from here, and I'll cover all of that in future videos. Another thing you need to know before you enjoy the finale is everything that's gone down in the game's story. First off, in the last event, we watched the Visitor shoot Jones in the back and betray the Seven. Thing is, nobody in the team had any idea he was actually Geno, the biggest villain in the whole game. So for weeks we were basically doing his dirty work, helping Sloan build the collider that's planted exactly where the countdown sits, which also happens to be the spot we'll be landing for the finale. That machine was built to control the 0 point, the very thing Geno wants in his grip, but his plan fell apart, and they sniffed him out thanks to his own slip-ups. Now the Seven know he was hiding under the Visitor's mask, who used to be nothing more than an NPC, has bailed on the island, and is currently in hiding. That's exactly why the Dark Voyager is now going after the island, and we'll probably run into him during the event, maybe even square off against him or something along those lines. The way I read it, he's going to be a thorn in our side, because we're still going to fire up the machine to control the 0 point, except this time, it's the good guys taking hold of its power. Meanwhile, Jones has spent months soaking in a tank trying to recover, and it turns out the sprites that have been popping up all season long can lend him their energy to bring him back. So during this event, we'll most likely see him climb out of that tub. This is the kind of moment I was hinting at earlier, where on top of the event itself, they might slip in a cinematic, like Jones stepping out to rejoin everyone, or drop it right afterward. If I had to bet, I'd even say it could be a trailer Fortnite puts out ahead of time to hype things up. But either way, I'm convinced it matters somehow, and it deserves a proper look. The real question is what actually happens with the Collider, because the whole idea is to use it. Yet that same teaser from the Battle Royale news already says someone is controlling the game. That means Sloan and the rest of the crew could see their plans amount to nothing, which honestly tracks since it'd send us into Season 4 with the 0 point still off the rails. spawning even more sprites. They've confirmed those are sticking around, or more accurately, that a second generation is arriving while the current batch temporarily vanishes from the island. And whoever's hacking the game fits the logic perfectly, because it'd explain how video game worlds like Sonic or Pac-Man mesh with Fortnite's. So next season we'd be running two storylines side by side, both equally important, one centered on Geno and the possible showdown with him, the other on whoever's messing with the game and how we shut them down. Personally, I'm all in on this, because for anyone who loves the lore, loves gaming, or just wants to enjoy Fortnite firing on all cylinders, next season looks like it's kicking off beautifully, with a ridiculous amount of fresh content on the way. On top of that, like I mentioned, the sprites that were the highlight of this season aren't only carrying over, they're getting an upgrade. Rounding them all up makes even more sense now, and I'm willing to bet most of you are still missing 20, 30, even 40 sprites, and roughly 10 of those are the 0 Point, the Reaper, and their special color variants. After Saturday's event, there's great news for collectors, because we're getting a Power Hour loaded with the mythic Empowered ones. Those are the two I just mentioned in every variant style, and they'll be the most common drops, with a mass appearance of the collab versions on top, including the Batman one, Iron Mouse, and others. Epic also has something like 3 more Power Hours in the pipeline, though we don't know the dates yet. Now on to another live event happening this same week, which brings us to D23, the show Disney runs that's almost guaranteed to have Fortnite content. I wouldn't even rule out more than one piece of news tied to it. It gets going on the 15th at 9 PM Eastern Time, meaning 16 hours before the finale. In one of the panels this weekend, I'm hoping they show off something about the mode launching in November. Remember, we've had a trailer for that, and it's been 2 years now, so it feels about time they dig into it a little deeper. After that, we might get something on the extraction shooter that leaked a few months back, which could be its own separate mode, or folded into the one I just brought up. Barely anything Disney related ever slips out, so it's tough to say. The final possibility would be skin collabs, the way they did years ago with The Incredibles, or from a franchise they own like Marvel or Star Wars. And if you really want to look at next season, I'll leave you with the first glimpse of it, because it's shaping up to be something special. The whole season is built around gaming legends, and if you want a feel for the vibe, think back to Chapter 2, Season 5, where everyone and their grandma showed up as a bounty hunter. That's the exact same scenario we're expecting here. Most of what we know comes from a mural that just appeared at the Seven Sanctuary. Hope's visions are back, and she painted the entire timeline of where Fortnite stands right now, plus a couple of arts that flat out don't exist in the game yet, which is precisely why they read like Season 4 teasers. The first one shows a 7 device that mixes the sprite effigies from the current chapter with what looks like brand new 7 tech. Nothing like it exists at the moment, so it's almost certainly a taste of what the 7 will be cooking up next season. Hovering above it is a giant circle in the sky, and it's either the 0 Point blown up to a massive scale or a full-blown portal, which would line up perfectly with the 7 pulling the something into play. The another graffiti is where it gets spicy. You can spot Sandy Strip, except it's been renamed Freedomville. Right now that spot is locked down by the Dark Voyager, which means it's under Geno's thumb, and Geno is the mastermind pulling the strings behind all of this. More on him in a bit. A rebranded Freedomville tells us the Voyager loses his grip, and the good guys take the place back. But glance up at the sky, and there's a portal with Geno sitting inside it, the exact same shot we got during the collision event. Put the pieces together, and Geno goes completely off the rails in Season 4, seizing the entire map and marching straight for the 0 Point. On top of all that, posters are going to start popping up around the map as we get closer, and they're all nods to gaming icons. There's a Sonic poster, a Mega Man poster, and a few other legends sprinkled in, which fits the gaming theme like a glove. As usual, the narrative won't fully kick off until the middle of the season, but Fortnite is clearly teasing where this is headed. Now here's the thing. Before Season 4 actually lands, we're getting a live event to bridge us into it, and that mural I mentioned even hints at it. The event is called Unstable, and it's a mini event, so keep your expectations in check. This is not going to be some jaw-dropping spectacle on the level of a full season finale. Fortnite basically has 2 ways of moving from one season to the next. The first is a huge event the night before, where the whole thing goes down, and you wake up the following day in a brand new season. The Shattered was a perfect example, dropping right before Season 3, The second option is an event that happens well ahead of the new season, with consequences that snowball more and more until they carry you into it. Think back to the Pandora's Box event, where the box got struck by lightning. A massive cloud rolled in, and over the next several days, the storm crept across the map until we finally landed in the wrecked season. Unstable is going down that second route. The event itself is set for Saturday, August 15th, next weekend, and it plays out at the Collider where the 0 point is. The stabilizer that's been under construction is finally wrapped up, and it ties right into everything. Even though the whole thing will only run 3 to 5 minutes, there are some genuinely cool details baked in. Right before it starts, a notification pops up on your screen telling you to head to the Collider, which is something we've never seen before. The event has its own logo, a countdown in the lobby, and a second countdown in game sitting right at the Collider. There's also a strong chance we get a cinematic, and that's a big deal, because a solid cutscene can turn an otherwise meh event into something unforgettable. The reason we're betting on one is that the team handling Fortnite's cinematics already has access to this build, so there's almost certainly a hidden cutscene tucked away in there. Since the event lands a few days before Season 4 rather than the night before, we get those escalating consequences. Once it kicks off, getting near the 0 point will start hitting you with random effects, like a burst of extra movement speed, or your interface glitching out so your minimap disappears. Basically, the 0 point is going to lose its mind more and more until Season 4 arrives. That leads straight into the big question hanging over all of it. The Seven have figured out that the visitor was Geno this whole time, and Sloan realized he wants them to do his dirty work for him.
We need to focus on what happens next. He wants the 0 point.
He's just waiting for us to stabilize it for him.
So we choose between doing his dirty work or letting the 0 point destroy everything.
His plan is to let everyone stabilize the 0 point so he can swoop in and claim it. So Sloan laid out the choice. Either they stabilize the 0 point and basically hand it to Geno on a silver platter, or they leave it alone and let it tear everything apart. My money's on the Seven refusing to stabilize it and letting it wreck the place, because the 0 point never truly dies. Even when it blows, it rebuilds itself and spins up a fresh island around it as a shield. The catch is that a destroyed 0 point means a shattered reality, and it takes time to reform, which leaves it wide open while it does. So it's not a call anyone makes lightly, but that's the fork in the road, and unstable is where it all begins. So to really understand why any of this is happening, let's rewind and catch the story up, because a lot went down. The headline is that Geno finally got exposed. He'd been hiding inside the Seven disguised as the Visitor, and his own daughter, the Order, started noticing that the Visitor kept vanishing at random with no explanation.
Our theory was correct.
That's not the Visitor. It's my father.
Geno.
He was supposed to be dead.
Eventually, everyone connected the dots and realized the Visitor was Geno all along. But the second they clocked it, he slipped away before they could confront him and went underground to keep his plan moving. Since he'd been embedded with the Seven, they combed through the sanctuary to see what he'd been up to behind their backs, and that's when they stumbled onto his secret base. Down in a basement, Geno had set up a hidden office where he'd been spying on the entire island and quietly running his master plan. And the one who tracked it down was that same daughter, the Order. Here's a bit of background for anyone who lost the thread, and no worries if you did, because this goes back years. Geno has two daughters, the Order and the Imagined. Both of them were betrayed by their father and walked away from. The Imagined sacrificed herself to take Geno out, except it was all for nothing since he survived, which leaves him with just one daughter now, the Order. When Geno decided to build his own organization, he named it after his two daughters. Stick the Imagined and the Order together, and you get the Imagined Order. We've known this for ages, but plenty of people never fully pieced it together, so now you're caught up. On the Jones front, we didn't get a ton, but what we did learn matters. While Geno was masquerading as the Visitor, he tampered with Jones's tank to make it turn toxic and kill him. Luckily, Hope caught it and warned Sloan.
Have you noticed these weird readings on Jones's tank?
Somebody's adjusted the chemicals. It's put his toxicity levels into the danger zone. The last changes to his tank were made by the visitor. If you hadn't caught that, Jones would be dead.
Which was a huge piece of how they figured out the visitor was really Geno. Hope also jumped ship and joined the Seven, rocking a fresh outfit. Even bigger, Hope uncovered the origin of the sprites, and it turns out the sprites are exactly what's going to heal Jones.
Wow, the sprites are made from the same stuff as the 0 Point. Did they come from the 0 Point when it reformed? I think they want to help Jones, if I'm right. Sloan can use this to wake Jones up.
So we finally know how to cure him, and now it's just a matter of time before he's back in action. We're left with 3 massive questions. How did we get here? Who is Geno? And what's going down next? Kicking things off in Chapter 7, an alien ship piloted by the Dark Voyager starts wreaking havoc on the island. His main gig? Snagging the 0 Point fragments to piece it all back together. But that's no walk in the park, so he teams up with the Ice King, basically one of the heaviest hitters in the Fortnite universe. A dude capable of putting any rival on ice, no matter what reality they crawl out of. To shut them down, Hope and Jones team up with the Order. She's part of the Seven, Fortnite's most goated squad fighting for the freedom of all realities. The group actually split up years ago, so the Order puts out a distress call that pulls in the Visitor, just not the version she remembered. Regardless, he joins the crew, and the 4 of them go hunting for their leader, the Foundation. He was chilling, literally frozen in the Ice King's castle, but thanks to his tracker and thermal suit, he breaks out, kicking off a brutal revenge war. Team Foundation versus Team Ice King. While this showdown wrapped up with the season's final live event, along the way we saw the Seven leveling up, pulling in backup like Overwatch and the Elites. But a mole totally flushed all that help down the drain. Yep, I'm talking about the Visitor. Turns out, he was the mastermind who engineered a weapon that would later cripple the Foundation, practically handing the win to the Ice King, as we all know. It is absolutely crucial to get this straight, because after 9 solid years of Fortnite, we are finally staring down the big bad. Geno is the founder of the Imagined Order, a shady syndicate, hell-bent on controlling the 0 Point while micromanaging the lives of everyone on the island. This turf war was the main event throughout Chapters 2 and 3. But after the Fortnite X Monthly Comics and the Chapter 3 Season 2 live event, we witnessed the ultimate showdown pitting the Titans against the Seven. Ironically enough, the Seven's roster includes the Order and the Imagined, the literal namesakes of Geno's organization. Major plot twist, they're actually his daughters, and it's the Imagined who steps up to take out her own dad, though it cost her her life to pull it off. With that, the Imagined Order crumbled, and the ultimate curveball, Geno actually survived, and worse, he was out for dead. His first move was dispatching the Herald, who steamrolled through most of the Seven by turning them into chrome. As the years rolled by, Fortnite kept evolving. The Seven were battered, scattered across different realities. Meanwhile, Geno was cooking up his ultimate master plan to wipe out the squad completely, going undercover as one of their own. He didn't just replace the guy we all knew, though. He swapped in for a version from the OG reality. Right now, we still don't know if he straight up engineered that reality himself, or if he just hitched a ride on a universe that already existed. But honestly, for what happens next, it doesn't even matter. Like I mentioned earlier, this imposter hits the island after the Order's SOS and acts like he's playing for the Seven's team. First, he bails out the Foundation, and then throws down against the Ice King. But this is exactly where he fumbles and makes his second massive mistake: building that weapon to cripple the Foundation. Luckily for him, it totally flew under the radar, so as of right now, Geno is still kicking it as a member of the squad. I say second mistake because his first major red flag was getting on the Order's bad side, you know, his own daughter. We caught wind of this chatting with her last season, but it kind of got brushed off since we had no clue who he really was.